Been through it all, but we up. We done been through it all, but we here, man.
We about to get ready.
I
to
trust
do
you.
this.
I trust you. I don't know why, but I do.
Oh man, this your boy Reginald Bradford. I'm with my man
Darrell Williams.
and we here at Touchy Topics. Touchy Topics is a place where we talk about topics that pierce your soul, that help grow and shape your mind. And the topic that we're talking about today is being a young Black man that's gay in America.
Okay, youngish.
Young. You know what I mean? And people don't know, D, that me and you have conversations. We've been having conversations, you know what I mean, for a while. And so I was like, let's go ahead and have this, because the whole gay thing, especially in our community, is taboo. We don't talk about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
From a positive perspective, when it's talked about, you have gay people who are speaking about it from their experience, or you have non-gay people who are speaking about it, but you actually don't have men, you know what I mean, gay, you know what I mean, and straight having dialogue, you know what I mean, in reference to it. So I would say, we'll start at our USF days, but now we can't start it. We gotta go back.
Before that?
Yeah, we gotta go back. You know what I mean? Because I actually want to know, because you're kind of old school, you know what I mean, in a sense, which means that you were part of the gay community during a time when it wasn't quote unquote cool to be gay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that from a disrespect thing.
Yeah,
but,
no.
You come from a different era. So can you recall at what age it was that when you were first attracted to men?
Wow. 5, 6?
5, 6?
5,
Oh,
6?
so fairly young.
Fairly young. So with that, as I preface this, I want to clarify, I wasn't molested. I wasn't like touched. I wasn't any of that, because there's a lot of beliefs around, like, if you're gay, you had to been exposed to it at a very early age through some type of traumatic event.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case for me. The first person I ever kissed was a boy. I can remember sitting in my first grade class.
Wow. Okay.
We were watching Charlotte's Web.
Mm-hmm. That's a good movie.
And yeah, it was a good movie. First grade, we all, everybody's sitting on the carpet.
Yeah.
And, we sitting in the back of the class.
Yeah.
And sitting very close. And we looked at each other and kissed, And so I think, like, in looking back at it, like,
did it ever happen again with you and him, or was it just that particular moment
that time I remember is what I remember.
Okay.
But I also knew that I didn't have the words at the time. Mm-hmm. But looking back and how, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, we were boyfriends in terms of. At that time, my school had just started doing where, like, teachers would teach math and English, and then you would go to, like, your next door class, and that would be where you would do your math and science. Okay. So during the changes of the class, like, he would carry my books. We would, like, play on the playground. Sometimes play together, sometimes not. Yeah. But it was definitely a like, he took care of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? As much as a 5, 7, 8-year-old can, but we just did that for each other, which was different than just being friends. Correct.
Did any of the teachers or any administration notice that you guys were?
No, that's the strange thing. Wow. No, not even, like, the other kids. Like, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't really, like, talked about. And even into, like, second grade, even though we were in separate classes, we still, like, at lunch, our classes sat next to each other. So it was like by the time third grade, we was broken up by that time. by the time we're like 9, we was broken up. No, I think by that time, it became a thing. Like, this is not what boys are supposed to do.
Okay.
And so I think for him, again, two Black boys growing up in the hood, like it's not a thing. Yeah. And I think because I was on more of the feminine side, growing up, it was a thing for him. Like, why are you hanging out with that? Why are you hanging out with that sissy? Like those. And so again, that's how I came into it. That's how I came into knowing about my homosexuality. It was definitely from a negative perspective and through the views of others.
Okay.
And so I think, so I knew and again, when I say knew, like, I knew that I was different only because of like the things that other people were saying.
So, you didn't think that it was wrong until you all was in the third grade, or did you?
I still didn't think it was wrong, probably until I turned like 10.
10. Okay, so hold that for a moment, because did you have anybody in your family who noticed that you were gay, or at an early age, and help you navigate through those feelings, or?
Oh, navigate? No, there was no navigating. There was no talking about it. There was, we finna beat this shit out you.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's what it was.
So, so who was the first person in your family that you can remember saying something to you in reference to your sexuality, and then it turns into, like you said, we finna beat this shit out of you?
My cousins.
Your male cousins. Okay. They were older or younger?
Older. A couple years, 3-4 years.
Okay.
So by the time I'm entering my teens, like, my cousins, they was like in our little town. Like, they was no boys. I'm from Tampa, from West Tampa.
Oh, okay. You from the hood?
Yeah, I'm from the hood. Yeah, and so when I say the hood, like, I didn't grow up in the projects, and that's not but I was project adjacent, working class.
Right, don't nobody use the term project adjacent.
Yeah, but I know, but I'm saying, like, and that's not to negate or to disparage, the projects, but I was down the street from the project, but it was still a hood, right? Yeah. But yeah, so by the time I'm in my teens, my cousins, like, they moving weight in the city. Like, they, you know what I'm saying? So they are them dudes. So I think for me, it was two things for them. Like, they didn't want me doing what they was doing, because I wanted to be a dope boy. Like, I just, I wanted to be, and I think I would have been really, really good at it. I think I would have been, because I'm smart. Yeah. So I think, like, I could see the mistakes that they were making, but I couldn't, like,
the infatuation of being a dope boy.
Right, yeah, no. So I could tell them, like, hey, this is not what you need to be doing, and here's how you need to be to increase their longevity in the game, right? And to increase their return on their profits. But that's neither here nor there. So I think that they recognize, like, so for me, school was the thing that I always did well. Okay. And so they wanted me to do that thing. But then, like I said, I was also on the effeminate side. Okay. And so I remember hearing things like sissy and whatever. I remember.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel different. It was said with enough venom that I knew it wasn't a bad thing. I mean, I knew it was bad. I knew it was a bad thing. I knew it wasn't.
How old were you?
Good.
How old were you the first time somebody called you that?
Maybe 8, 9.
8, 9.
8, 9, sissy.
Yeah. One of your cousins?
No, this was a random person.
Just a random person.
Yeah, okay. Just But yeah, I do remember one Halloween. In my teens, I might have been 12, 13. I dressed up as a cheerleader. Mm-hmm. That was the first Halloween I dressed up as a female cheerleader.
Back then?
Shit, yeah.
Wow.
So I've always been, I'm gonna do my own thing. Okay. Because like I said, I'm smart. So I've always been the smartest in the room. So my mouth has always been ridiculous. Like that has always been my weapon. And so if you said something to me, I had 5 things to say back.
Yeah.
And it was by the 5th thing, it was going to end the conversation because either A, you was going to fight me, or B, you was going to be so embarrassed that let me leave him alone and go on and do what I got to do. But this one particular Halloween, dressed up like we're going trick-or-treating, I go to my cousin's house. He might have been 16, like I said, he dope boy. And he kicked my ass. Again, so at the time, I wasn't this understanding, but looking back on it, I can understand the fear and the misunderstanding that
he had.
Yeah, because you're seeing your male cousin with, cheerleader shell with the skirt on. Did I have hair? I might have had a wig on, like one of my mama's wig or something like that. Might have been. Because we were all supposed to go trick-or-treating.
Okay, so hold that for a minute because you just mentioned your mom. How did your mom respond to that? And your dad?
Well, so my dad wasn't in my life. Beside the $20 a week child support, like that's what I knew of my dad, like growing up. I did meet him once, so that's actually an interesting story, but that's neither here nor there right now. So my mom, she also, I think she saw it in me early on too.
Did she ever address it?
Yes. So I can remember her hitting me in my chest and saying something to the effect of, I'm not raising no girls. And I grew up very early on remembering hearing my mom say that she prayed for her first child to be a boy.
And were you her first child?
I am the oldest of my mom's children.
Okay.
And so there was a weight of that. Once I understood like the male-female differences and understood that I had an attraction for boys, for men, males, that I was different, that resonated for a very long time. And so her saying that was because her brother died when he was like 17 or 18, which might have been 3 or 4 years before I was born. And so her wanting to have her first child be a boy was in an effort to give her mother her son back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's where,
so
I didn't understand that.
So
I didn't understand
that
too, So I didn't understand that too, like years later after I had come out and was able to say to my mom, hey, here's part of the reason why I didn't tell you once I had the words to.
All right. So when your cousin jumped on you,
I was scared.
How did you move differently after that encounter with your cousin? Or did you move differently?
We're actually really close now. Actually very close. So I did shy away from him. I did try and hide it.
Okay.
But it's very interesting about families. It's kind of like one of those things like I can say whatever I want to say about my sister, but can't nobody. So it was that kind of thing because he also was the cousin that whenever my mouth couldn't back down from the thing, he was the one. He's the one. He was the one that stepped in and would protect and like did all of those things, but he still didn't like the softness that he saw in me. So in terms of moving differently, I knew not to do that again.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
They have this conversation and from a science perspective, meaning, you have some people say that, hey, I was born gay. You have some other people say, You know, because like I said, we've had, you know, conversations say that I made a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, which one do you feel you are?
I do think that there is some biology.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because there's a lot of homosexuality in my family. So
both male and female.
Male and female. So in my mom's age group, she has second cousins, both a male and a female, who are lesbian. Well, a lesbian and a gay cousin. In my generation, I had an older cousin who was 2 years older than me, who's gay. And then he has a sister who she identifies as lesbian, so I'm gonna go with that. Although she was married to a man she was married to a man for a while, and so, but she identifies as a lesbian, so she's lesbian. And then, so in the generation after me, I have a first cousin once removed who's a lesbian. So, and my first cousin is actually my mom's twin sister's son. So that's what I'm saying. So I do think, like, from a biological standpoint, like, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Basically 2 in every generation for at least 3 generations.
So now you go, when you get to high school, we're not going to get to college yet. We're going to say high school. So when you get to high school, how are you moving? You know,
I came out in middle school.
Oh, so you came out in middle school?
I came out, well, I'll say junior high school, because we were the last 9th grade class of a 7th, 8th, 9th junior high.
Before 9th grade.
Right, and went in 10th grade. So 9th grade was still not a part of the high school that I went to. So when I left that school, 10th grade was starting high school. So I actually came out in 9th grade in middle school.
Who was?
I was out. I was it.
Do you recall, like, who was the first person you told, like, you know?
Oh, I was in 6th grade then. The first person I told? Yeah.
So that was in 6th grade.
that was in 6th grade.
Was it a family member or a friend?
It was a friend. It was a friend I came out to.
A dude or
female? Marissa Salocious.
Oh, so you remember?
I remember. I remember.
What was her response when you told her? Do you recall?
She was cool.
Yeah,
she was cool. You know. Yeah. My bad, dude. I forgot to put this on silent. Oh, this is my mama. Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, mama. You're on speaker. So yeah, so I told Marissa in 6th grade.
6th grade, okay.
And honestly, now having this conversation and thinking about it, like, I really didn't care. I cared about her response. That's why I told her. I felt like it was going to be a safe space, but I also was testing the waters to see how it would.
See how other people would be.
Even though I knew, like, so she's a white girl.
Okay.
I knew how the Black community was, how they felt about it based on the experience and just being, coming from the Black community.
Correct.
So it was cool.
Do you feel like, okay, because I'm kind of jumping ahead with this, but you mentioned it. Do you feel like the response that comes from our community is based more so religion than anything?
Ignorance. More so. I think it's more out of ignorance. I think it is out of fear.
What does that mean? Because, like I said, now you got me jumping ahead because you mentioned the stuff because when I hear the term homophobic, I'm not scared of gay people, so I don't even understand like so when you say fear
in terms of, I think, the trauma that comes along with it. So I'm just going to touch on this, and I don't want to go too deep on it. But I think our experience as a people with same-sex interactions goes back to buck breaking.
Okay.
So I think that, like, you learn real quick.
Correct.
Like that ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and there's trauma in that, right? And so you have centuries of that happening. And so as a Black man, that's not what I want.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? That's not what I want. That's not what I want my sons to be doing. And so anything that reminds me of that trauma, is a fear. Yeah, I want to stamp it out as best as I can, right?
Okay. Well, I like the way you just you know what I mean, went into that.
Yeah, and so also I think that we all got an uncle that then touched somebody. Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Or we got that older cousin that a wrestling match turned into something that we weren't really ready for.
Correct.
Right? And so
or auntie.
Yeah. Yes. So I think with that, when same-sex interaction or any type of sexual interaction is forced upon a person, there's a trauma that comes with that. And so when you are at 5, 6, and you got that uncle that's, touching you inappropriately, you associate homosexuality with that negative experience. And so anytime you see it, it triggers that negative interaction. And so you respond accordingly. Right. Yeah. And so I think that's a lot. And that's the ignorance and the fear that I'm talking about in terms of why our community responds so negatively. And again, I'm obviously painting us with a broad.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Brush. But I think it's out of those experiences that's why we have some of the views that we do have. I think the white man's religion that was thrust upon us also doesn't help, because that also is a tool to control. Right. And so
now you first heard somebody when you was in middle school. So now you, like you say, you're in high school, you all the way out. So you would say you're more of the flamboyant.
I was called a flamer.
A flamer.
So, but I also have to say this. So when I was about 14, was it 14? I'd say 13. 13, 14 was my first voluntary sexual experience, in the sense of I knew what I was doing. Like I could say, this is what I'm signing up for, going into it full-fledged. And at the time, my mother was dating a guy who I didn't like. So the other thing is, like, this ain't got nothing to do with that, but in the same vein that my mom was like, I want my first child to be a boy, she also preached, you're the man of the house.
Oh, wow.
So there was a lot of that. So now I never really gelled well, and I actually regret not gelling well with the men that my mom chose to date. Because again, from the time I could remember, I'm the man of the house. So then, who are you?
So you really ain't even got the respect,
right? Yeah. Like so who you? Yeah. So the point I'm making, she was dating this guy, and I told you my mouth is ridiculous. You tell me one thing, I'm gonna tell you. So he wanted me to clean up the kitchen, and I was like, well, I will. I'm doing homework or something. He was like, no, I need you to go do it now.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna do it in a minute. He was like, no, you're going to do it now and don't say another thing. I'm not going back and forth with you. I said, well, this is my mouth and I'm going to keep running it, whatever. He said, if you say something else, I'm going to put you through this window. And so we lived in a shotgun.
Wow.
We lived in a shotgun house, and 1908 LaSalle, and it was on stilts. And so we're in this flex space, like what most people call a den. And so he said, say one more thing, I'm gonna put you through this window. So I said a couple more things. And so he proceeded to put me through the window. So, and when I say put me through the window, I do want to clarify, yes, it was traumatic, and probably in today's, I should have called 911 and called but that's not what we did. It was not a glass window. The window was up, the screen, so he really put me through the screen.
Okay.
And there was a palmetto tree down. So, but I got scraped up, and again, being a man and true to his word, like, and he was, definitely traditional and old school. And if I'm say a thing, I'm gonna put you through the window. I gotta be willing to. I mean that. And so he put me through the window, and so I was like, oh, okay. So I left home. I left home and I was gone for a while. Gone. I went to, for as much as I can, you know, when you in like 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, you can have a girlfriend. She was my girlfriend, but wasn't my girlfriend because she knew I was gay and all of that kind of stuff. Well, we had dated, like when I say dated, as much as you can in 5th grade, have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I went to her house. And I stayed at her house. It seemed like forever. But when you're like 14, you know, time and all of that. And so my mom did.
Wait, so her parents was cool with you? Like, when you say stay there, you mean a couple of hours?
No, I stayed there. It was like, for me, it seemed like a week or 2 weeks. It was multiple. It was multiple days.
Her parents was cool with that? Okay.
So so we're talking like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah. And so her mom actually happened to see my mom at the store. And I'm going to tell you, for those of y'all who know West Tampa, I don't know what the name of the store is, but it is on the corner of Main and I believe that's Rome.
Okay.
Anybody from West Tampa know exactly where I'm talking about, right across from Dunbar Elementary. I don't know what the name of the store is. So she happened to see my mom at the store.
Okay.
And my mom happened to say, "Hey, Darrell's not at home. Have you seen him?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's at my house. But I think he needs to tell you that he's gay or left home because it had nothing to do with me being gay. It had to do with that Negro putting me out the window and my ego being bruised." Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to hurt me. Let me hurt everybody. I'm just going to remove myself from the equation. Yeah. And then y'all will see how y'all life, just, you know, at 14, what you thinking.
Yeah.
So, so she runs into my mom, tells her, and so they lived in the projects. I forget what the name of what street they lived on, but they lived on Green Street. So my mom, I'm there in the living room, and you know, my mom comes in. We laughing and playing, and I hear my mom's voice, whole government name, first, middle, last.
Yeah.
And time must have stopped.
So when she did your mom, had you had this conversation?
I had not had the conversation.
So she outed you to
She outed me to my mother.
Okay.
Yeah, so she outed me to my mother. And again, like I said, I think by this time my mom knew,
but it wasn't a conversation.
It wasn't a conversation. I think she was still kind of hoping and praying that it was going to be a different outcome.
Yeah.
So she comes and I just can remember laying there and laughing, and I hear my mom calling my name and saying, "Let's go." Like the weight of the world was on me and my heart was beating, and that's all I could hear. It's like in the movies. It was definitely like in the movies when everything goes silent and still, and all you can hear is that thud of the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Must have been, it seemed like forever.
Yeah.
So I slowly gathered my things and we were walking back home. And so she's like, "Is there something you want to tell me?" I'm like, "Tell you what? Tell you what?" "Well, he shouldn't have put me through that window. I ain't like that. And I felt like you was going to pick him over me." And so she was like, "No, that's not what I'm talking about." "Well, what are you talking about, Mama?" "I don't know. What you talking about?"
Yeah.
She was like, "Do you like men?" And at this point,
wow,
I can remember saying, "Okay, you have a choice. Either you can tell her or you can have this lie and just let that be the thing."
Yeah.
So it was a good thing. Like, so now now as an adult, I felt like she did do the right thing as an adult with a kid in the house and all of that. But I also feel like that wasn't her place, because that's what my mom was upset about. That was, you know, I don't need to find out what's going on in my house in the streets. That's the generation that my mama come from.
Yeah.
It ain't had nothing to do with the gay thing. She was more upset about
you didn't tell her
that I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
And so, because she was very big on her kids being able to come and talk to her
about
anything.
Yeah.
About when I say anything, I mean anything.
Okay.
And so that was the thing that hurt her. And so we talked about it, and it wasn't a thing. Yeah. It wasn't a thing. Like, you know, so to the point, she referenced, like, why did you think that would be a thing? Like, you know, I have a cousin that's gay who had lived with us and had, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and I, you know, she started naming people like, it's not a thing. Like, why did you think that this would be a thing? And I told her, I said, well, Mom, you said you wanted me to be a boy, your first child, and all of that. And that's when she said, well, the reason I would say that is because I wanted to give my mom her son back.
So now that everything
so that's what I'm saying. It came full circle.
Okay.
And so that was the summer leading into my 9th grade year. Okay. And so I will say this, is that once my mama knew, everybody else, like, is she okay with it? And I get to live in her house and it's not a thing?
Yeah.
The rest of the world can kiss my ass as far as being like closeted and everything like that. And so that kind of opened the floodgate. And I do think that was definitely her response. Was a very pivotal point in who I am right now and how I navigate this space as a gay Black man, because I had the freedom. I ain't have to hide. Yeah. One of my first boyfriends lived with us for 2 years.
Was this high school?
I was in high school. He was older though.
Okay.
He was 25. I might have been 16. So, and it wasn't like I said, hey mama, my boyfriend from her car. Yeah. It wasn't like that. Some
stuff was going on.
No, he just came, his car broke down, and he never went home.
I'm trying to have a serious conversation.
I'm telling you, no, it is serious, man. That's what happened.
I'm trying to see if I could have pulled some stuff, man.
That's literally what happened.
Oh boy.
And so once she found out, I'm going into my 9th grade year, because I actually had skipped 8th grade. Okay. They had a summer bridge for kids who were like over age, because she held me back in the 1st grade, which I don't understand why, but she did. So to like catch me up, I skipped 8th grade. Okay. Went that summer, did some stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, you can go to the 9th grade.
Now, did you ever date any guys?
My age?
No, in high school. From your high school.
Define date.
Never mind. never mind, D. I'm trying to have a constructive conversation. I ain't trying to out nobody. This ain't what we're doing.
No, that's not what we're doing. No. So to answer your question, no, because for most of like my 10 through 12 grade year, my boyfriend was living with us. Was living with us. So like by the time I was in the 11th grade, which would have been my 2nd year actually at the high school, he was living with us.
Okay. So all right. No, I get it.
Yeah.
So now let's jump to college. And the reason why I want to jump to college is because we know college is significantly different than high school, than, you know, the neighborhood you come from. So now when you get to the college campus, there are more people like you. There's an organization. So now do you feel like,
but at the same time, I'm 18. And I want to do all the things that I want to do the stuff that the 18-year-olds are doing, because those organizations, because I went to PWI.
So what college did you attend? I'm sorry,
I went to the great University of South Florida, main campus, located in Tampa, Florida. So I just went across town for me, because I grew up in Tampa. But those organizations that you're talking about cater to white folk.
So you opened the door to it. I wasn't gonna jump into it. Like remember that for later on.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that for later on.
But also you have to remember. So I come out in 9th grade, and so I am very experimental. So I had the breath, because now my mom knows, to explore and experiment with all of my presentations.
So it wasn't like you got to college like how a lot of people do, and now you figuring out who you are.
It was the reverse for me.
Oh.
I'm gonna get to that. So I did all of the things. Like I was a clown. I was a fool. I didn't know nothing. I didn't have any guidance. I was just figuring stuff out. So when I got to college, I was liberated. I was free. I was, you know what I'm saying? I was, my hair was permed. I would wear braids. And actually in my senior year, I actually had a head full of hair that in my senior picture that had beads on them that were hanging down to here, and that wasn't a hairstyle guys were wearing. Like guys weren't really getting the braids and the locks and all of that kind of stuff. So my hair was pretty long. I was getting it permed. I'd done finger waves. I'd done all of the.
Wait, you talking about the college cat?
Yeah, in college.
Yeah, I had braids when we was in college, bro.
Yeah, but not box braids. Not with weave and extensions. Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so it wasn't. When I say like you had cornrows, like you know what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So you with me now?
Yeah, I'm with you now. Okay. Bro.
So when I hit USF's campus, it wasn't a let me discover and explore.
Yeah, because you already knew.
I had already knew. Yeah. But when I say it was the reverse for me, being and so like high school, I was kind of like the top dog. So it wasn't like I wasn't checking for nobody in that kind of way. Like I didn't feel like I needed anybody's approval in that kind of way. And I was like, oh, you know, college is gonna be like a different world. Everybody's liberal, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to join a fraternity. So you can't have finger waves and then be in nobody's fraternity back in 1994, 95. Like that wasn't going to happen.
What fraternity you want to join? See, I ain't even noticed.
So no, I ain't no.
You ain't gonna tell? You telling everything else? You might. You can go.
The people that know.
You can go brag shop tonight.
I can, but I don't want to do that one no more.
Oh, you got a different one.
I have a different one.
Okay, well, you can choose. You know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have the benefit, and that's why I won't say.
Okay, all right, cool. We'll talk off camera.
Okay, yeah. Now I'll share it with you off camera, but
okay.
So it was a going back into the closet. So you have to think about like for about 4 or 5 years, I was out the closet, and when I hit USF's campus, I'm like the biggest flame that had set fire to the campus,
which is okay on the college campus, but
which is okay. Not okay. Trying to go
join
a D9 organization. So that ain't happening. That ain't the look.
Nah, you're right about that.
So
because that's actually now we can talk. That's what me and you met.
Yeah,
we met at college. You know what I mean? And so we had a conversation, and you said something to me. You was like, bro, like the one thing that I liked about you, bro, is that you never switched up and changed. So what did you mean by that? Like, did you have people that if y'all just walking are in the same class, y'all could talk, but then if they're amongst other people?
So here's the thing with you. I felt like what was understood didn't need to be said. I never like you and I never had a conversation.
Never.
I never said, hey, bro, like this me.
This the first time we having this in-depth conversation. Like you say, I knew.
Right. It never was a thing. And I never, so like coming out was not like, I didn't feel like I ever had to come out to you.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, but I felt like it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. And that's what I appreciate. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying when I say you never changed. Like it was never a thing. Like you doing what you do, I'm doing what I'm doing, but it was never like I was never made to feel different. I never like you probably the only person that I've never had to actually have the conversation, but it be understood.
Yeah.
Like it was never, you never was like, hey bro, like let's go look at some women, or you never was on that type of time with me.
See, D, I have a cousin. Well, I have a couple of cousins. That's great. Gay. But I had a cousin when I was growing up that used to babysit me. You know what I mean? Him and his sister. You know what I mean? And like I said, he kind of reminded me of you. Real smart dude. The way he moved, you know what I mean? I never saw my cousin, you know, with the a man or with his partner until, you know, I was grown. But even then, you know, it was almost like you still ain't know if that's just, you know what I mean? Because he never presented himself, you know what I mean, a certain way. My cousin, just the way that he moved, you know what I mean? So like I said, I knew how that community move. You know what I mean? Like I say, the old school. I'm not talking about, you know, new school
because
is
it's different. And I have so many issues. I have
you know
so
what I
many
mean?
issues.
So I'm not talking about a new school, but I'm talking about, like, you know, the old school generation. So like I say, when I got to a college campus, I would tell about this. This is a funny story. You know what I mean? When you get to college, like you said, you got so many organizations, you seeing stuff that it's like, dang, I remember such and such from high school. But then, you know, college, it's like you say, you get to be who you are, or you're finding yourself. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when you're in college, bro, you hungry. You know, destination. So I can't remember the name of the organization. You know what I mean? But it was a gay organization. And so they had something. So me and my partner was like, bro, they got food. And I say, bro, I'm finna go ahead and get this food. They like, bro, you really gonna go over there? Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, you gotta eat.
Hey, then I went over there. Everybody was friendly. They give me pamphlets. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, they like, bro, you gonna shut? Hell no, I'll run the same way. When they got some food, you go get some too. You know what I mean? But like you say, man, when you on a college campus, it's so many different organizations. You know what I mean? So many different people. You just have to learn how to navigate in that space. You know what I mean? To me, a college campus is like the microcosm of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you're exposed to things that you've never been exposed to at home. Like, bro, me eating Chinese food, that was the first time I had Chinese food, you know what I mean, was in college. Because my mom cooked. You know what I mean? We didn't do a whole lot of eating.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So me eating Chinese food and a lot of different things that happened, you know what I mean?
You have opportunities that you didn't have back at home.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I get exactly where you're coming from, because I know it was a couple of dudes who was and a couple of young ladies that I knew that was in your same situation. You know what I mean? You know who you are, but in order for you to be a part of this organization, you have to now
not be that.
You know what I'm saying? In order to get in.
You
know what I mean? Because like I said, we know a couple of situations that transpired where a couple of people, it was like, I like you, you cool, you might get my vote, but you're not gonna get everybody vote, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not what the organization want to be looked
and I get it. I can completely get it, because then you don't want it to be like, now we finna let all the in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get I get it. I get it. Yes. But honestly, like, anybody that wants to join a D9 organization that is gay ain't join it for the access of the brothers. Like, that's not they.
You join it for the actual organization.
Right. And I would guarantee you, I would bet $1 million that those who are gay in those organizations are the hardest working.
Yeah.
And I would, you know, I would ask the viewers to just examine your fraternity, your sorority, and look at who's doing the real work of the organization. 9 times out of 10 probably are, if they're not out, are probably closeted.
So that was the biggest difference for you being on the college campus.
I had to go back in the closet.
Yeah, you had to go back in. And so how are you feeling now that you have to go back in the closet? Because like I said, you know, man, when you're on the college campus, whether you on campus, live off campus, when you move in a certain way, even when you creeping, you know what I mean? People know.
It's a small community. Everybody know. Everybody know.
So other young men, you know, that you knew were gay, you know, did you like? How was it being amongst them? Was it cool to be amongst them? Not cool to be amongst them? You know what I mean? Did you have a brotherhood of other cats? Because like I said, when you're on the college campus, bro, you know what it is.
Them Negroes was,
You know,
they was.
I can't. You knew a young lady who I dated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That happened to be. You know what I mean? Like men and women. So I was privy to information that I shouldn't have been privy to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it. You know what I mean? But there, y'all had like y'all own little
It
organization.
was. This was all each other. Let's just call it what it was. Let's just be what it is. So because it is that, right? Like your captive audience. It's like fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like even from a straight perspective, you on this locked in, not locked in, but y'all all in this geographical area. It's very small.
Yeah.
Everybody trying to experiment sexually or have sexually, know what they like, and it's a buffet. You can pretty much have you can go from Gamma to Kappa to, like, you know what I'm saying, all within a span of a few hours. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Mu or wherever it is you're going, and have one in every single dorm.
Correct.
And then a few off campus. Like that's what it was. So that community, because I had been liberated. Correct. So I was light years ahead of a lot of those people. Okay. And they also were trying to be in fraternities as well. So they super stupid closeted. The benefit for me is I just so happen to also get randomly selected with the other gayest person on campus, who happened to be a white dude, who actually became president of the Lambda Club, which is probably the organization that was on USF's campus. Yeah. So that also didn't help me in the sense of I definitely was, again, more effeminate. I lived with a gay white dude. I didn't, and again, so that whole stigma of the thing was a thing. But yeah, the community sucked. It was not a community in terms of like helping each other. Like you would think it would be like a small fraternity, like, because it's only a handful of us. We all know each other. Yeah. Like, how are we helping each other? But again, when you're 20, that's not what you're thinking. You're just thinking, how can I get a nut? And that's gonna be the thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not thinking about how we can help each other move smarter amongst the masses. Yeah. They sucked.
Okay, well, I guess that answered that question.
So the dudes, now my friends that were lesbians and closeted, I clicked with them. Oh yeah, like I definitely clicked with them. I enjoyed them from a family aspect than I did the dudes.
So okay, so like I said, we just having a conversation. Now the ones who were closeted back then because they wanted to be a part of a fraternity or sorority, did they eventually, once college was over with, come out, or did they still keep that persona and got married and had families? You know what I mean? Even though that your core, this is who you are. Did we having a conversation, bro? You know what I mean? We not out. A lot of the same people. Oh, we know a lot of the same people. I know.
Look, it happens.
Okay, so
it happens. So let me just keep it a buck.
Okay.
So one guy I'm thinking about, he had a whole, and he actually ended up pledging. But his struggle was also from a religious aspect. Okay. So we would like lay together, and then he would bust down the church door. So he kind of straddled the fence. I think he did get married, but didn't have children, didn't stay married long. Another guy also pledged. I think he is living his life free, like not married, but not, like if you ask him now, he probably would be like, yeah, Another dude did get married, have kids, did the whole thing.
It's not funny, D. You know what I mean? And like I say, I'm only having this asking those questions from the standpoint to where you were liberated, you know what I mean, at such an early age, you know, and we have this term that people use this this day I'm living my truth. How come, you're able to live your truth? And I know you said, when you told your mom
that was huge.
That was huge, you know what I mean?
That was huge.
So how come, like I say, because in today's time, which we're gonna jump into that, it's cool to be who you are.
Yeah, get y'all a gay friend. You're missing out if you ain't got one.
It's no pressure. So how come you think those people, you know what I mean, even now, aren't allowing themselves?
Because there's still pressure.
Okay, so now let's
There's still pressure. We still Black, we still men, and we have all of the stigma that comes with being gay. Because if you gay, you less than a man. That's the huge attack, and nobody wants to. I'm still a man,
but because you're laying with a man,
yeah. You see, and that's also true even within the gay community. Like that's a whole self-hatred and all of that kind of thing. Because that's what we're. Like I said, for me, coming into this thing was through the lens of others,
correct,
and that lens was one of hatred. So if I'm seeking this thing, then I am hating myself because that's what I'm taught. I'm taught to hate this thing. You know what I'm saying? And so that becomes a whole nother issue. So yeah, I think especially for Black men that are attracted to men, still have issues because it's still
pressures of being a Black man.
It's still because you still have to go because again, like is what like. So I'm more in terms of my social circle is going to be with other Black men. Like your friends are Black men, right? And so then how do I navigate that space as a Black man wanting that social connection with other Black men that's not sexual, but being gay? I can't walk in the front door saying, "Hey, I'm gay. Let's be friends." Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I still can't do that. So yeah, I just don't give a and like either you gonna be my friend, like either we're gonna have that relationship or we not gonna have that relationship. And because I know my worth as a person and as a friend. Like if I'm your friend, it's rock solid over here. Yeah. Like you know what I'm saying? It's rock solid. Like if I'm gonna eat, you gonna eat. I'm gonna do everything in my power to help you win as well, but I'm also gonna check you when you up as well. Yeah. So it's good. It's good over here. So if you like, I want to be friends with him because he gonna look at me funny or whatever, then that's cool. You don't have that's cool. You have that absolute right to choose who you engage with or whatever. And I'm gonna let you be over there. Like I'm not gonna force myself because I know what I bring to the table.
So where did this whole community thing come from? Because I mean, like I say, me, I'm a clown, I'm an asshole. So when I hear people say, "Oh, the gay community," it's almost okay. So what street that's on? Like, right. How do you like this one person or this group speaks for everybody? So like you said, within the gay community, you are a Black man. And you said it. When you was in college, those groups cater to white people. So how is it that you're a part of a community that does not cater to you? Like where are the groups within the group that specifically cater to Black men or Black women? Because like I said, when I hear, the gay community, and like I say, man, it's gay women or bisexual women that I've had, contact with that don't believe that. But it seems like that community speaks for everybody, and it's just
that's because they're seen. Okay. That's what it is. It's because my white counterparts are seen. Like my Black gay brothers and sisters, for the most part, and again, broad brush here, they not protesting nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want that stigma. And that's one part of it. But I'll say for me, like I don't with them because I got too much work in the Black community to do. I'm gonna let the white gays handle that over there. Y'all go fix over that, and whatever y'all get for us, that's right. Yeah. I'm gonna be at the table for that too. But I also feel like it's too much work in the Black community that I have to do, that I can't be worried over here with rainbow children.
So okay. So are you're stating to me that from a privilege standpoint, you don't have the same privilege as your white counterparts by you being Black?
Oh yeah, no, I don't have the same privilege.
So it's all. So do you feel like it's a double negative? You're Black and you're also a Black
for sure.
man.
Yeah, for sure. But
that is gay or homosexual.
Yes, but I choose to lean into my Blackness. Now there's some Black gay people that will say I'm Black and gay, and the intersectionality of both of those struggles, they wear all of that armor. I just feel like, for me, I'm a Black man who just happens to be gay.
Yeah.
Because when I walk in, and it's just not in presenting, but I just identify with the struggles of Black people in this country, more so, and more passionate about seeing the Black community win. Because if the Black community win, this Black man who just happens to be gay also wins.
Because they see that. They see you're a Black man, but they don't see that.
Yeah. So as a Black man, if the Black community comes up and wins and thrives, then my gayness also comes with me. Whereas doing the work from a gay rights perspective, only my gayness gets to come. Mm-hmm. I can't bring my straight Black sister into that. So for example, and I'm kind of a little nervous about this, I didn't get married until 2018.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, 2014, right before the Supreme Court legislation. And so I appreciate the white gays for fighting for that. I didn't have to do nothing for that. Yeah. I just got to show up and do that.
Yeah.
But that's not a benefit that my straight sister has access to.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing the work for equal housing for Black people, that's something that my straight sister
can benefit
from.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
now, do you feel, because you hear this term or you hear the wording that there is a gay agenda?
Oh, child, the damn gay agenda.
Do you feel like there's a gay agenda that's being pushed on the kids or being pushed on us? You know what I mean? A propaganda. You know what I mean? Because would you say it's an agenda, or would you say it's an awakening? Because now, you know what I mean, people who don't
it's the straights. Y'all doing it to yourself.
Who don't, I won't say believe in it, but do you feel like, okay, because you had mentioned this earlier, that if you're in a certain setting, then, or environment, then, you begin to tend to think that way or become that, you know what I mean? A lot of times people use the word grooming. You know what I mean? So do you feel like, if you're I don't want to say pushing, but sometimes, I'm just being honest, bro. Like, you could be watching a movie. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. So my husband has had the privilege of practically raising 3 young men. Okay. They all straight. They all 4, actually. 4 who are all straight. Okay. Married. One's not married, but has 2 kids. All of them got children. My nephew lived with us from the time he was 11 until he turned 18, 19. He's straight. So you don't think it's an agenda? Or that they're pushing certain things? No, I don't believe in it. I just think it's convenient for the straights to have somebody to be against. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's just a convenience factor. Okay. I grew up with my mom dating men. Like, that wasn't a thing. Does grooming happen? Yeah, but I also think it's the closeted men that is grooming, that like children. Okay.
That's which ain't, and I think people cross over with the homosexuality and
Okay.
ain't got, they're two separate issues.
I was like,
and it's the straights that over sexualize children. So when we start talking about the gay agenda, like, so when I see a young girl like in a bathing suit or something tight, like I don't think like, oh my God, that's inappropriate. It's these nasty old straight men that be like, you know what I'm saying? When you see a 12-year-old girl and, you know, she may have on a crop top or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or the salty old aunties who body don't look like that no more, over sexualize and think, oh no, you can't come around my husband with that. Well, why can't she come around your husband with a halter top and a miniskirt on? What is it about that, what she wearing, that is going to bother your husband?
Yeah.
But we don't check him, like, right? And so that's what I'm saying. But there's a whole gay agenda on, like, we grooming the kids to make them all gay. And especially like within the Black community, there's this whole mystique and stigma about, you know, we just want all the Black men, the what is it called, the demasculation or emasculation of the Black men.
Yeah.
No, like that's not a thing. And so I feel a way about this because we don't allow men to have the full range of emotion. Anytime we see a man that exhibits any type of emotion that's not anger, right? He's soft.
He gay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so if I say to my straight brother, if I post something on my platform that's encouraging men to tap into those emotions and to find healthy outlets for those emotions, now I'm pushing an agenda because I want Black men to be soft.
Yeah. I'm going to be gay after this conversation.
You know I don't like you.
I'm just saying. That's what they gonna say.
Right?
Say, we have a
conversation. Yeah.
You know, and
that's the thing. But then we get bothered when our brothers don't express themselves healthily,
or they blow up
because they blow up, right? Because those emotions come out somewhere.
You're gonna snap. So. Once again, like I say, as part of being a part of the LGBTQ,
IA+,
you know, and like now they just the alphabet community, because
I just call them alphabet. Yeah, I just say alphabet.
I saw something where, because you mentioned it, they've changed their name to I think what it's called, minor, attracted to minors. You know what I mean, or something. It's what is it? Is man, I change the name to minor attracted persons are wanting to be accepted by the LGBTQ. You think if they actually add them into the equation that it would totally?
I'm giving back my membership. I'm gonna get back
because you mentioned earlier. A lot of times when people think of you know, a gay man or a gay woman, especially raising a child, they think of unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if your community,
I'm giving back my membership,
accepts minor attracted, like that's gonna open up a can of
it is. That's stupid.
That cannot.
That's stupid. That's illegal. And so that's a slippery slope, because then that's gonna set us back. Like, I only get to be married to my husband because 9 white men in a row, not 9 white men, but the Supreme Court said it was okay.
Yeah.
So once they, you know what I'm saying, once somebody, this old fool, because I honestly think the guy, I don't know what his name is, but the guy that got the affirmative action, who's now seeking an injunction on government contracts that are earmarked for minorities. I think if we do that, that's just going to be a reason to set and strip away my marriage, my ability to be married. Because they already don't like us. They just don't like us.
Okay, because like I said, now because you're adding the politics and everything involved, you say, you know, you don't feel like there's an agenda. You know what I mean? Your perspective. Do you feel like the gay community, LGBTQ community is trying to take over the civil rights movement for Black people, because before, they would, and when I say they, I would say the gay community would equate what they're going through or what they're dealing with, you know what I mean, as equal to what we went through, our ancestors went through, as slavery and things of that nature. Here's the
thing I'm gonna tell my Black brothers and sisters.
Okay.
We don't own the copyrights to oppression. It ain't just us.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of other oppressed, infringed, disenfranchised communities have benefited from the civil rights. And so I do take objection with the idea of, the LGBTQIA plus community taking over. Like, so that language is language of separation.
Okay.
And so for me, it's one and the same. And I would feel that way if I wasn't gay.
Okay.
I feel like it's one and the same. I feel like the rights of women is aligned with that same struggle. The rights of indigenous people in this country are aligned in that struggle. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like it's all the same. And so I do think that's part of the machinery of slavery and colonization and white oppression, the divisiveness. That is how they conquer.
Yeah.
It's through division. And so if we can get the Blacks looking at the gays with a side eye, looking at indigenous people with a side eye,
yeah,
right, then we can keep them separate and continue to oppress.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Now, you touched on this earlier, because like I say, now we all over.
Yeah, we all over the place.
And it's cool, though.
It's cool.
You mentioned earlier, that you lived with your quote unquote girlfriend that wasn't your girlfriend. You know what I mean?
When I ran away. Uh-huh.
Have you ever had a relationship with a woman, like a physical relationship with a woman?
I ain't like it. So here's the thing. This was actually at USF.
Okay.
And I appreciate, and I need to reach out to her, because I do appreciate her for the experience and being open to the experimentation on my part.
So she
knew. She did my hair.
She did your hair. So it was one of them times where y'all was just alone. No,
it was planned.
We had
a whole conversation about it.
Oh wow. Okay. So she was your first
female experience. I didn't like it.
So what was the conversation, or was there a conversation afterwards? You know what I mean? Because you hear this, mm-hmm. The whole like, oh, when we do this, you ain't gonna like me no more. You know what I mean? Or if it's a young lady, when we do this, you ain't gonna like women. But men
and women are different.
Okay,
they're different from an anatomical standpoint, mm-hmm. from a physical standpoint, from a biology, chemical. They're different. And so if you don't like the anatomy of a man, or if you don't like the anatomy of a woman, then that's not gonna be a thing, right? Like, so let me be all like today. Yeah. If I wanted to, I could have sex with a woman.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
Would I enjoy it? No. Because I don't, like, women are soft. Like, and I think that women are beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that women definitely have, their place.
Right.
And I'm not talking about from a subservient standpoint, but they have a purpose,
correct.
Right?
But you have to clarify. You just have to clarify.
Yeah, I'm just clarifying. I'm not trying to say that a woman needs to be in the kitchen barefoot praying. That's not what I mean. But I think that women have definitely a purpose. And if you can't tell by the shirt, it's Black women for me.
Yeah, I need that shirt though.
Yeah, it's Black women for me. Like, I'm pro Black woman, but that experience, it solidified like I don't have to do this again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate her for that and being willing to, although I am enamored as a gay man. I don't know how like non-PG we can be, but I am enamored with the female anatomy.
Yeah.
It does some things that are
I'm enamored with it too.
It is amazing. I can appreciate your quest and thirst for it. Like I can appreciate it. It's just not my cup of tea. Like,
so after you had that experience, what was the conversation? You know what I mean, with the young lady? Like, can you recall? You know what I mean? Because
it was very matter of fact. Mm-hmm. I was just like, hey, this ain't work, but this ain't work. It ain't work.
Yeah,
that was fine.
And did she continue to do your hair? You know what I mean? Afterwards?
Yeah. Well, by this time I cut the hair because I was like this. I was like, oh, I can't do this. I'm trying. I want to. I want to pledge. But no, we still were friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're social media buddies.
Okay. No beef. That's all.
There's no beef. It's always all love over here.
It's
even
college,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even when it sounds like it's not love, it's all love. But I do appreciate that experience. But I also resent the notion that like how you know if you ain't tried it. Because I can say the same thing for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? How offensive is that?
You don't gotta say that for me.
You know what I'm saying? But how offensive is that? Like, you know what you like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they're gonna be in the comments, y'all.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Reginald might be gay.
That was not what I was. The point that I'm making is like, as a straight man, how offensive is that? Like you gotta try the nigga stick to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To know that you like. But by the way, just back to the enamoredness. Yeah. Like the vagina is amazing.
Yes,
it is absolutely amazing. But you don't have to like it.
Fourth,
10th. Yeah, but you don't have to want to be in it or whatever like it is by design. Absolutely. It is the bringer of life. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just, I want to have a whole clitoris conversation because I just love that thing. It's just in and of itself, I think, special. And just the way that it's designed, like, but all of them ain't pretty though.
So, okay.
They not.
Oh, boy. Now, jumping to where we finally get to this point here, the quote unquote cool to be gay during this day and time. So what because like I say, you come from a time where, like you say, you get your ass whooped. You know what I mean? And not saying that it don't happen now, but it's quote
unquote. And so I do feel away. I do feel away, especially for the straights. It lightweight make me mad because now.
Which part? What makes you mad?
Mad that straight dudes with nail polish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That the man bags.
That's still kind of questionable.
No, but you're from a certain age group too. Yeah, but the 19-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, it's not a thing for them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they get away with it.
Yeah, because we use the term, we still use that's a little suspect.
It is, yeah. So but they can, and that's all they're gonna get.
And it's cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might, it's a little suspect.
Because the women not checking that, they think it's cool.
Right.
Because we come from an era where you had to be, like you say, a man. And when I say a man,
that toxic masculinity that is circulating around.
Bro, why gotta be toxic?
It is. It's unhealthy. It is unhealthy for y'all.
For who?
Straight men.
To be what?
All bottled up and angry.
Well,
and
that part.
Like,
it's not toxic to be masculine.
No.
It's toxic to be bottled up and not be able
and being one way and not being and I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I do think there needs to be some type of level of fluidity. Yeah. But I also
now because I do hold on real quick. I think that the way men are projected or being yeah, the way that men are coming along these days, I do think is soft. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's okay.
We done raise some marshmallows.
You know
Me
what I
and
mean?
you together,
Yeah,
then
correct.
raise a whole generation of marshmallows.
Correct.
But that's a whole.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
Well, I think that they're neat, but how do you navigate the space of not being a marshmallow, but also being able to have the full range of emotion?
Okay, so I had this conversation. I'm gonna put this on camera with my mom. You know what I mean? I believe what's different about our generation as opposed to, you know, our dads and granddads is that, like you say, they really stood on business. When he said, I'm gonna put you through this window,
he meant that.
Yeah, he really meant I'm gonna put you through this window.
Yeah.
But like I was telling my mom, like me and my brothers do things that my dad don't do. And like I say, my dad, he cool, he's great. You know what I'm saying? He a provider. My dad didn't babysit. My dad don't wash dishes.
Sure. Right.
You know what I mean? Certain things he don't do. So I told my mom, like, your sons have, you know what I mean, some of the female
from a traditional standpoint,
components to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I wash clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't fold them, y'all, like that. You know what I mean? But I wash them. You know what I mean? Because that's one like.
By washing, you mean separating them and putting them in the machine?
Yeah, bro. I wash clothes.
But
you know
folding is the thing.
Man, I fold towels and I'm gonna fold my clothes. You know what I mean? Because it's just certain things. Because like with your mom, I was my mom's first. Right. So by me being her first, she did, you know, she taught me how to cook. She taught me, I know how to sew. I know, you know what I mean, clean up a lot of those things, you know what I mean? So I have that component and aspect of me. So when I'm talking about the soft aspect, I feel where we're different, really different than, or somewhat different than our fathers and grandfathers, is that we're having conversations. Yeah. We're going to counseling. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more of that. We need a lot more, but
dealing with the trauma.
Yeah, there's a lot more
of the brokenness, you know what I mean? But
so when I say marshmallow, I mean these motherfuckers can't think their way out of this room.
Yeah, you got to get them a partition.
And you got to draw them a map, a GPS signal, and a red line out the room.
Yeah.
They can't handle any type of adversity.
Yeah.
Any type of challenge they can't be wrong. Yeah. Any type of thing that requires them to pivot is a challenge.
Or commit and I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not, but they're not built for it tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think, but we did that. Our bougie black ass that moved out to the suburbs, and our kids, that struggle that some of us went through made us where we now have multiple streams of income, because I can't trust the white man's job to be there always. But my kids can't do that. They don't. They know this.
And you know what? It's funny because I remember when I did it I pivoted with my daughter. She had to be about 7, like she's 10. Then my daughter had to be like, I know she had to be like 7 or 8, bro, in that range. And she was like, Dad, I'm hungry, you know. And it was like, you hungry? Go fix you something to eat. But I realized
she hadn't done it.
Yeah, she had never made herself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you know what I mean, or a ham sandwich. We don't eat bologna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We, like you say, we too bougie, you know what I mean? We health conscious, and because she would eat Crustables. So it was like, oh no. But it dawned on me because,
she ain't never had to.
Yeah, because we come from a generation, man, we was cooking on gas stoves, like where you could blow the house up. I'm talking about like at like
that part
5 years old.
Yeah, that's
6.
what. Yeah, because microwave wasn't a thing. That was electric. Like,
so you had to cook.
You had.
So it was like
cook.
Like no, like man, wait, hold on.
You had to.
Like we was really cleaning up the whole house.
You know I remember at like 8 or 9 going to pay the bills.
You was a man of the house.
Right, I was a man of the house. My mama would write out the check and be like, just go to the water place, just go to the life place. And when that white man knock on the door for the life insurance, you better not let him in, but here go his money right here for his, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that was a thing.
Bro,
but my kids,
we walked miles to school. You know what I mean? And like, I gotta go to a private school. Bro, kindergarten. I'm like, my mom left the house, you know what I mean, to go to work early. So me and my partners, we running from the dogs. You know what I mean? It was
all of that. It
wasn't no cell phone to see did you make it?
Yeah,
wasn't
it wasn't none of that.
Like,
it was just this is what you did, and you better be there. And so we like I said, we have moved out here, moved on up, and taken all of those things away from our kids, and wonder why they 30 still living at the house, or they about to graduate high school and don't know what they want to do. Don't even have a plan unless you tell them what the plan is for their own life. Like for us, we couldn't wait to leave the house because on the other side was freedom.
I saw something on the internet for I can't remember what rapper it was, but he had his daughter driving and she was young. Bro, my homegirl Nicole, you know what I mean? I sat down and had a conversation with her. She owns a trucking company. Her dad taught her how to drive a truck when she was 9.
Right.
I'm talking about like with the gear. At 9, it's like, whoa. Same thing with me. I was like, first time I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, I want to learn how to drive. Bro, we own 441. Like a real highway.
Yeah, highway.
No, none of that. It's like, you want to learn how to drive? So it's like, like I say, 11, 12, I know how to drive. So by the time, you know, when I hear people say, oh, I have restricts, man, I've been had license 16 and we were driving out of town. I got a cousin, bro, called his name D2 in Miami. High school, driving up from Miami. What's up, cuz? You know what I mean? So I have a young lady, you know, who I'm cool with. She has grown sons. And when I say grown, 20s, 20, 21, 22, you know what I mean, that don't have license. You literally have to take them everywhere. They don't even have Uber accounts. And it's like you scratch your head. And like you say, as a man, what man is going, a man that's going to come and date you when you have those type of sons in the, like,
whew, because that's going to be a problem.
It is a problem.
For our generation going into that situation, like why these 22-year-olds?
But it's going to be a problem for them, you know what I mean? Because they're going to have families one day. And like you say, they're not going to know how to navigate through these waters.
And so here's the thing, because that's also where I'm in this space. I'm in a space of being intentional about building my village for a very specific purpose. But I'm also about family legacy, right? And so just, you know, with Thanksgiving, realizing, and my first cousin, she said this to me once before, like, we're a family of women. And so I think about that. So in my generation, of the 8 of us that are still alive, only 3 of us are men. Of the 3 of them, I'm the only one with a college degree. I'm the only one with any type of certification training to say, hey, you can pay me to do a specific skill.
Yeah.
And so then I worry about, like in my nephew's generation, it's 4 or 5 men. What is the legacy for them? Because I realize, like, I don't have any elders. I don't have any elder men.
You're the OG.
I am the OG.
Yeah.
I am it. I am he. There's no, I don't have an uncle in my mom's generation. He died when he was 18. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's none of my mom's sisters got, you know, well, when they did get married, they was almost like my grandfather's age.
Yeah.
My grandfather was around up until I was like 14, but he had a stroke. You know what I'm saying? So by the time when I'm able to remember and appreciate having a grandfather, he's, you know, walking with a cane. I'm having to help my mom change him. So I do feel like that, like for me personally, like there's a need for that elder, because there are questions that I'm going to have even at 47 that I have, that I need somebody who's a little further along in the journey of life that can say, hey, here's how you can navigate this space. And so really trying to be intentional about having those conversations with my cousins and my nephews that are males, and they don't listen. I'm not saying it's easy. They don't listen because they can't handle all of it. I'm learning that I have to give it to them in bite-sized bite-sized pieces in 140 characters.
Baby steps.
I have to give it to them in baby steps, but just making sure that they understand that with what limited information that I have, I do have 20, 25 years on you. So I'm here to help you navigate, because there wasn't somebody that I had, even in an unintentional way, to say, hey, here's how you need to move and be able to navigate that space.
Your mom literally spoke that into existence when she was saying, you're the man of the house. You're not just the man of the house. You're really the man of the family.
I am the man of the family. I am he. And that's not something I take lightly. And so really just trying to be intentional about, family legacy is really important to me. I don't know how we got here, but that's just kind of where I am. Like I said, just building that village of elders, of peers, and initiate. So really thinking about this idea of, like, from an initiate, who am I responsible for in terms of helping them get to the next level?
Now, you mentioned family, and I wasn't even going to ask this, but you mentioned family and legacy. I know you're married. Have you thought about actually having kids of your own? Like, you know what I mean?
That's an interesting question. So I have thought about it, but I didn't realize, like, having kids would be as important as it is. Because you don't think about it when you're 20.
Yeah.
And then your 30s, you're so busy trying to build, like, financially, right? I didn't get married until I was 38. Yeah. Which is still that's on the later side. Even for a man, you can't, just because you can't have kids into your 70s don't mean you should be laying down at 60 trying to have a kid. And so I feel like that at 47, I shouldn't be bringing no babies in the world. I'm on the last leg. You see what I'm saying? On a journey, right?
Bro, they got technology these days. We living longer, bro. You can go ahead.
Yes, I don't know if I want to be here for that. I like, because we done raised some marshmallows, and the way these conservatives passing these laws, I think we're gonna be back on the plantation picking cotton for long, and I ain't built for that. I just am not. So I didn't realize how important. Well, first of all, I didn't realize marriage was an option. Yeah. Right? You know what I'm saying? So growing up as a young gay man, I didn't see, gay couples getting married. Like that wasn't the thing. At best, I might find somebody I could shack up with for a long period of time. Like that was the gold and the brass ring, to be involved with somebody for longer than 2 years. Yeah. Right. So without the benefit of marriage, like, children wasn't even part of the equation until much later in life. And now it's just too late. And so what we have tried to do is we fostered, like I said, my nephew lived with us for 7, 8, 9 years. And so, like, my family calls him my nephew's son, just because, he did live with us, and I was more of a father for him, with him during that time. So it's only through surrogacy and surrogate relationships and being intentional with that. Fortunately, I work in an industry where I have the potential to impact,
leave your mark.
Okay. So, because that's really what it is, like, in terms of, like, procreating and all of that. It's like, what is the legacy of who gonna talk about me when I'm dead in the grave? Like, and what is going to be my impact or influence on their lives? Yeah. I talk about my nephew a lot. Like, I'm extremely proud of him. And so it's interesting, like, when you think about like being a parent, he didn't do what I wanted him to do. And so I was real salty for a while that I felt like he should have done. But I also had to tell him, like, I didn't raise him to be Barack Obama. Yeah. That is not what I poured into him. Yeah. What I poured into him is be self-sufficient, take care of yourself, and be able to provide for your family.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I poured into him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly so like I was like, well, Darrell, you can't be mad at him. He is exactly what you
had to come to terms.
Yeah, I had to come to terms because I wanted, like, you have the world is your oyster and you have all of these opportunities. But I didn't help him navigate the space to be able to seize all of those opportunities. What I poured into him was very limited in terms of when you go out into the world, take care of yourself.
Correct.
And so, like I said, I'm proud of him because when he left at 18, he ain't never looked back. He ain't never said, hey, can you send me $50 to put gas in the car?
Yeah.
Can you, you know what I'm saying? Can you loan me $100? The light's about to get turned off. Yeah. He left and never looked back. And so because of that, he, you know, was able to buy his first house at 22. I didn't buy my first house until I was 32.
Yeah.
So to me, he's already up. You know what I'm saying? Because again, as the generations go, you want the next generation to be able to do better than you. Exactly. And so for him to be able to purchase his first house 10 years earlier than I did, that's I can't ask for nothing. Yeah. And he didn't say, hey, can you give me $10,000 to put for the down payment? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like he was just like, it literally was like, hey, I'm thinking about a house and I'm going to close it next week. I'm like, okay, cool. You do the thing. Yeah. Now, coming up, we talked about credit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, you know, that's my specialty, baby.
I know. So,
hey, Mr. 800, you know what I mean? I know we on touch the topic.
We on touch the topic. Hey, I'm a dip in this and we're going to come right on that. But no, so we talked about, so when he was 15, 16, hey, I'm going to put you on this credit card. So you have an account that shows some history. Yeah. So by the time he bought his house, he had credit for over 6 years. Yeah. So again, that length of credit, type of credit, I'm not telling you nothing you don't know. So we talked about that.
No,
so
but you talking about something that Black people
don't talk about because that,
you know
right, I mean? Exactly.
Because, right, I tell people this story all the time, D. My mom, who happens to be a housewife, was the first person, this was before rappers was talking about it. She had a black card.
Okay, right.
You know what I mean? So her credit was immaculate. So you talking about, like you say, 30 years ago, possibly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What she had from a credit perspective was what could have created generational wealth, but the information
didn't get passed down. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she didn't have the information. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's like now I had to go and get information on my own. So like you say, what my daughter is going to be a part of, it's going to be next level.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the point. That's the point. Because that's the point. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be able to be. I made a Facebook post of what is your plan for your grandkids? Yeah. Like, what's your plan? Yeah. So what are you doing today that 3 generations from now will be able to benefit? Bro, I don't think we think about that. I don't think we are intentional.
But Black people, once again, we're so religious because you're talking to a PK. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? I tell people, you know, and I'm hijacking this from you real quick because, you know, when I hear of a parent, you know, that say, hey, once they get to 18, you know, that's it. You know what I mean? But I was like, well, you're not walking in accordance to your Christian faith. Right. Because the Bible says to leave an inheritance for your children's children. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you just hit it. Yeah. So from an
what they inheriting?
Yeah.
What they're inheriting your trauma.
You know what I mean?
They're inheriting your debt.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pay for your funeral.
Yeah. What are you leaving? What are you leaving that 3 generations they're gonna still be suffering from or prospering from? Yeah. You know, and being intentional. And so I actually am having conversations like with my nephew and his generation about being very intentional about children. Okay. Because I think a lot of us just lay down
and have kids
recklessly without any intention. Correct. And now the kids are here and you don't have no plan. Now you're trying to figure it out and scrambling. And now they're 20 and you just now figuring it out.
Bro, you know, me and you can have this conversation for a long time, man. We've been talking for a minute.
Have we?
Yeah.
You turn the TV off. I forgot what time it is.
We gonna have to come back. You know what I mean? Because there's some things that you touched on, especially from your father's perspective, that we didn't get into. Yeah. So I would definitely love to talk about that. You know what I mean?
And, can we talk about the clitoris next time too?
No, we're not talking. No, we
can't.
No, we ain't talking.
Why can we not? Why is that not a topic?
I'm Xing this out.
Why can't that be a topic?
We ain't talk about that. You know what I mean? And also, you know, before you go, I would like to know, you know, if there's some advice, I don't know if that's the right word, that you can give to somebody who doesn't have, even though, like I say, we're in a day and age to where it's quote unquote cool to come out, you know what I mean? But you still have that pressure because you have, you know, religion and a lot of things of that sort that still are handcuffing individuals.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to that person to be able to talk, if not to their parents, possibly somebody, so they don't have this pressure or this weight? Because, like you said, kids these days, unfortunately, they're relieving their life. And when I mean relieving, like they're taking their life,
themselves.
You know what I mean? Unaliving themselves, unfortunately, you know what I mean, because of pressure that they're dealing with because they're not built for it tough.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what type of words of encouragement or, you know, what type of advice would you give to somebody who's dealing with that, you know what I mean, but not quite sure of how to, you know, express that to their parents, whoever, you know,
this gonna sound crazy. So I would say if you are feeling like, hey, I'm interested in an alternative lifestyle, get therapy, find a counselor, find a therapist.
Okay.
If that is not available to you, regardless of your faith, find you a Catholic confessional.
Somebody who you could just talk to, but you ain't got to worry about them.
You ain't got to worry about them. You could just let it out, say it, and it's there. And when you leave that confessional, that's where it is. Because I think just being able to hear the words out of your mouth, and as you talk through it, there's some healing that happens in and of that process.
Okay.
So, like I said, if you can't, you know, if there's not a therapist or you don't have your own insurance, find you a Catholic church. They have confessional, you know, do your Hail Mary, even if you're not Catholic. I just think going there, sitting there for 5-10 minutes, let it out, come back next week, do the same thing until you start to feel better.
Okay. Well, D, this has definitely been. This it, man. It's been a conversation. I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
All over the place.
I appreciate you for one coming and, you know, having this conversation, open yourself up, talking about some things that, you know, you may not have spoken about, you know what I mean, before. So
yeah, no, this is good.
Allow yourself to be vulnerable, you know what I mean? None of that toxic male masculinity.
We didn't talk about the clitoris as much as I would have liked to, because I think it is an amazing piece of anatomy. But no, thank you. No, this was good. This was definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, it's needed. And like I say,
I appreciate you.
We definitely, like I say, gonna come back again, man, and have the conversation.
I'm here for
again. You know, this your boy Reginald,
Coach Grizzly on Instagram, aka Darrell Williams-Guilory _. That's my married name, which I don't use very often, but that's what it is.
That's what it is. All right. Well, hey, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in to Touch a Topic, a place where we come and talk about topics that pierce your soul in order to help grow, shape your mind. Till next time. We out. Appreciate it, bro.
Been through it all, but we up. We done been through it all, but we here, man. Been through it all, but we up. We done been through it all, but we here, man.